Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Bienvenidos al Mundo de Español with your teacher, Senior D. In today's video, I will be teaching you, guess, the time in Spanish. Yes, I will be teaching you how to say the time in Spanish. There are two different ways by which you can say the time, and I will be teaching you how to do so in this video. So stay tuned, and at the end of this video, you should be able to tell the time. Also, before you go, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and also share it with other friends of yours who are interested in Spanish. All right? Stay tuned and enjoy. Now, gone are the days when a man would be able to look at the sun and tell you the time, or listen to the rooster, which is outside crowing away, right? So some people used to listen to the rooster and they would be like, oh, it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I should be waking up now. Well, these days the roosters are basically crowing at any time of the day, really. At this point, it's like maybe 12 o'clock and there's a rooster out there. So it is important to learn how to say the time and not have to look at the sun or listen to the sound of that annoying rooster outside. To take the time out to give a shout out to Shaniece Cooking. Alright, so Shaniece Cooking, her YouTube channel is really buzzing. She has some amazing dishes on display and she's showing you how to make them as well. So I'll be leaving the link in the description below so you can go over and give her, some love, show her some love by subscribing to her channel and sharing her content with other friends and families. Alright, so that's Shaniece Cooking and her link will be in the description below. Looking for really good furniture at an affordable cost? Well, look no further. Call 578-0920 and talk to Sonil and he will set you up with the finest of quality when it comes to furniture. Alright, so give him a call, and if you want bed, dresser, any type of furniture, Sonil is the man. So give him a call at 578-0920. Now, to say the time, the first thing you need to be able to do is count from 1 to 60 in Spanish. Alright? So if you already know how to count from 1 to 60 in Spanish, you are on the right track. And for those who do not know, I'll be counting with you from 1 to 60. Now we're going to begin counting from 1 to 60 in Spanish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. All right, so that was 1 to 60 in Spanish. You can pause the video at any time and rewind to catch up on a number you missed. You know, it is also very important to know how to ask the time in Spanish, because how are you going to tell the time if you don't know how it is asked, right? So to ask the time in Spanish, you would ask, ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Now, if you look at it closely, it actually translates literally to mean, what hour is it? What hour is it? ¿Qué hora es? It is very interesting to note that there are two main ways to say the time in Spanish. One, I say, is the straightforward way to say it, being that exactly how you see the time on the clock is the way you say it. And the other one, of course, is the one I call your show off of, you know, your math skills, as in your ability to subtract in math. All right, I'll explain very shortly each of them, and so you have a better understanding of what I mean. Okay, guys, so now we're going to head on over to some charts where I'll be, digging in and showing you some keywords that are used when you're telling the time in Spanish. And we're going to be looking at examples of different times and how you say them and how those keywords fall in and at what place they fall in. All right, so we're going to head over now to the chart. We have on this side some keywords. Now, I call these keywords because these words are usually what you would use in the sentence when you're saying the time in Spanish. Our first words are son las, right? And you use that to talk about the time when it is plural. You'll have a better understanding when I talk further about and use some examples. Our second word is es la. And this is used when the time is singular. Alright? Now here, if you notice, I have them categorized. And the category I put them is in front. Now this means these words are only used in the front of the sentence when you're talking about the time in Spanish.
You will notice that the word las is used with son and la is used with s when saying the time. Now, do not be confused. These words mean the, but they are not translated when you're saying the time.
So you will use son las at the front of the sentence when the time is plural, or you would use esla at the front of the sentence if the time is singular. So both words will never be used. Both set of words will never be used at the same time. Only one can be used. Let's move on. We also have here E. And we use this when we're joining the times. So I'll show you that as we go along further in the lesson. I'll show you that. We also have menos. Now, I have them in a category here, and the category is in middle. So these words are only used in the middle of the sentence when you're talking about the time, or when you're telling the time. So you will either use y or you will use menos. Let us move on. Here we have de la tarde. De la tarde. And this means PM. So you will attach this to the end of the time when you're talking about the time in the afternoon, evening, or night. De la tarde, which means PM. Let us move on. We also have de la mañana. De la mañana. Now to pronounce mañana, you will see a symbol above the N. It's called a tilde. Whenever you see this, just pronounce it as if there's a Y coming immediately after the N. So, mañana. So, de la mañana would be AM. Our next set of words is de la madrugada. De la madrugada. And that is, it's just like saying AM, but it means before daylight. So if you're saying it is 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., you know that's before daylight. So you would say de la madrugada at the end of the time to illustrate that it is before daylight. We're going to talk about these examples here. We're going to say each of them in Spanish. And we will be using each set of words here in each of the sentences. So we'll see how it plays out and how they fall in place. Okay, so first we need to know how you ask the time, right? So to ask the time in Spanish, you will say, ¿Qué hora es? Which really literally translates to mean, what hour is it? What hour is it? But in English, we hear it as, what time is it? Okay, so we're going to talk about these examples. Let us start with the first one, which is 10:32 a.m. We're going to say 10:32 a.m. in Spanish. Or it is 10:32 a.m. in Spanish. Now, we will use one of these. Will we use son las to begin the sentence, or will we use es la to begin the sentence? We will use son las. Now, why are we using son las instead of es la? We are using son las because 10 is plural. Alright? 10 is plural. So let us begin. We will say son las. How do you say the 10 in Spanish? 10 would be diez. So son las diez. Now we'll have to go and find the word to use in the middle. We have two words, right? Are we going to use y or are we going to use menos? We will be using y. So, son las 10 y, how do you say 32 in Spanish? 32 in Spanish would be 32. 32. So, son las 10 y 32. And then we're going to go down here because it is what? AM, right? So, son las 10 y 32 de la mañana. So that is how we would say it is 10:32 a.m. It is 10:32 a.m.
We can also use menos to say 10:32 a.m.
It gets a little tricky here. I am going to use menos to say this time. 10:32 a.m. we just use E as the middle word. We're going to use menos as our middle word. Alright? And when I'm done saying the time using menos, I will explain what I did. So here we go. We will say son las 11, son las 11 menos 28 de la mañana. So I just said son las 11 menos 28 de la mañana. Now, I suspect there is a look of confusion on your face because you noticed I didn't say 10 here, I said 11. Let me explain why. Now, in order to use menos really means minus, all right, or to take away. So the only way I can use menos is if I push the hour to 11 o'clock, and then menos here would be used to subtract 28 from the hour to bring it back down to 32. Alright? So what I just did was to move the hour up to 11 and then use menos to subtract 28 to bring it down to 32. Now, it is a very tricky way. I think it's just a way to show off your mathematical skills, really, and your ability to subtract. So that's another way you could say the time, all right? So you could say son las 11 menos 28 de la mañana. So that's another way you could say it. And remember, you only use menos when the time is beyond 30. For example, you have 32 here. Or here, where you have 45. Okay? This one will be very interesting. Once we get down to this time, you will see what I mean. Now we're going to say the other time on the board here, on the chart here, which is 7:18 p.m. So how would we say that in Spanish? Someone says or asks, ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? You look at the clock and it is 7:18 p.m. You would say, which one would you use? Son las or es la? Correct. We would use son las. And we use son las because this is plural. So let us say this time now. Son las, how do you say 7 in Spanish? Siete, correct. Siete. Son las siete, our middle word that we would be using is y, because we only would use menos in a case where the number here would be beyond 30, or anywhere from 30 to 59, all right? So this number is 18, so we'd say son las siete, we use y. How do you say 18 in Spanish? 18. 18, right? So son las siete y 18. Then we come down here, and PM is, it is PM here, so PM would be de la tarde. So son las siete y 18 de la tarde, right? And that is, it is 7:18 p.m. Son las 7:18 de la tarde. Okay, so let us continue. Our next time here on the chart is 2 a.m. 2 a.m. So someone asks, ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? and you say you want to tell the person in Spanish that it is 2 a.m., you would use son las because, of course, 2 is plural. So we start out the sentence with son las. How do you say 2 in Spanish? Dos. Son las dos. In this case, we're not going to use any middle word. We're not going to use any middle word because you only use the middle word when you're merging the time here with minutes. All right? So here we use a middle word because we had 32 minutes. We had 18 minutes there. All right? So we only use the middle word to merge the hour to the minutes. All right? Or to connect the hour to the minutes, we use the middle word. So we're not connecting any hour to any minutes here because there's no minutes. All right? So son las dos. And then we head straight to our N words here. And in this case, because it is 2 a.m. and it is before daylight, we would say de la madrugada. De la madrugada. And we say that means before daylight, right? So it is still a.m., but it literally means before daylight. So son las dos de la madrugada. Son las dos de la madrugada. And that means it is 2 a.m. It is 2 a.m. So our next time is 3:15 p.m. So someone asks you, ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? You look at your watch and you want to tell them it is 3:15 p.m. You would come here, so our word that we would use from here is son las. Son las, what is 3 in Spanish? 3 in Spanish would be tres. So son las tres. Now we would have to use a middle word because we have minutes here and the minutes are not surpassing 30. Alright? So our middle word we would use is y. So son las tres y. How do you say 15 in Spanish? You would say quince. Alright? So son las tres y quince, and then our N letters here, N words, would be de la tarde, because it is PM. De la tarde. Alright? So that is son las tres y quince de la tarde. Now, there is also another way you could say this time. Alright? So if you wanted to sound fancy and you don't want to use quince, there's another word that you could use to represent quince or 15. Right? So we would go like this. Son las tres y, and instead of using quince, we would use cuarto. Cuarto. Cuarto is quarter. Alright, so cuarto means quarter. And 15, as you know, is quarter of the hour. Alright, so we could say son las 3:15 de la tarde. And that is, it is 3:15 p.m. So we have two ways of saying this time here. Our next time on the chart here is 1:30 p.m. 1:30 p.m. Okay, so someone asks, ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? You look at your watch and it is 1:30 p.m. Now, which of these would you use to start the sentence? Okay, finally, we will be using esla. I figure you must have been wondering why we haven't used esla yet. Alright, so the previous times, from here up here, we used son las because these are plural. they are more than one, okay? So now we're going to be using es la because the time here is singular. Let us begin. So to say 1:30 p.m., we would say es la una, and we would come to our middle words here, and our middle word that we will be using is y. Alright? We're going to use y. So, es la una y. Now, in Spanish, yes, 30 is 30. However, when you're saying the time in Spanish, you don't say 30, you say media, which means half. Alright, so media in Spanish literally means half in English. So you're basically saying it is 1:30 p.m. Alright? Which it literally is, if you look at it. So anyways, back to the lesson. So we would say es la una y media. And then for our N words here, being that it is PM, we would say de la tarde. So es la una y media de la tarde. And that is saying it is 1:30 p.m. Our last time here on the chart here is 1:45 p.m. So someone asks you, ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? You look at your watch and it is 1:45 p.m. You would go over here and we are looking at es la, right? Because this is singular. So es la una, we have to choose a middle word here. Now, in this case, because 45 is beyond 30, we can use either y or menos. Y or menos. So let's use y first. Alright? So es la una y, how do we say 45 in Spanish? 45 in Spanish is 45. 45. Es la una y 45 de la tarde. Alright? So that is how you would say 1:45 p.m. using our middle word as y. To say it is 1:45 p.m. using the middle word menos, we would say, now this is where it gets tricky. Remember, to use menos, we have to push the time here up to the hour. So in this case, we would put the time up to the hour of 2, right? So now we'd have to say, son las 2:15, or remember we have another way to say 15, or we can say quarter. So son las 2:15 de la tarde. De la tarde, right? Or son las 2:15 de la tarde. So that would be, it is 1:45 p.m. Right? And we just said it in the two ways that you can say it. Okay, so we have come to the end of another video. I do hope that you have learned how to say the time in Spanish. And if you think that my way of teaching you how to say the time in Spanish was effective or is effective, please share it with your family and friends so they may also learn how to say the time in Spanish. Stay tuned for many more videos, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. and stay tuned for more informative and educational videos. You take care until next time.